Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
That's what I'm talking about. All of our guests today, including Ross Tucker, standing by. Brought to you by Able Auctions, ableauctions.ca, our title sponsor. Joined now by Ross Tucker Football Podcast, CBS Sports, and Westwood One. Ross, thanks for doing this as always. How are you, sir?
It is my pleasure. I'm doing fantastic, gentlemen. How about yourselves?
Lovely. Very well, very well. Better than the Raiders. Dallas over the Raiders, 33-16. Monday Night Football. Vegas is 2-8. Did you expect more from the Raiders with Pete Carroll in charge?
Yes, a lot more. I thought, I always say this. I think that the two most important roles, positions, titles, whatever, in any organization in pro football are head coach and quarterback. You could probably argue GM, but I'm going to go head coach and quarterback. And I thought that the Raiders had made significant upgrades at both. They had gone from basically a bottom five quarterback situation a year ago to having a top 20 quarterback in Geno Smith. And I also thought, you went from Antonio Pierce, a first-year head coach, more or less, to a guy like Pete Carroll, who has a lot of pelts on the wall. College national championships, Super Bowls, the whole deal. So I thought they'd probably at least double their win total from a year ago. Certainly, that's not looking like it's going to be the case.
I'm sure you saw this, Ross. Speaking of Pete Carroll's old team, the Seahawks, Sam Darnold throws 4 interceptions versus the Rams. His teammate, Ernest Jones, goes out of his way, in an X-rated way, to come to his defense. How much do you respect that?
Oh, I loved it. I loved everything about it. I love Ernest Jones as a player. It's funny because some of these guys, you can kind of tell what they're like as people by how they play, their demeanor, the way they go about it. And Ernest Jones is exactly what you're looking for in an off-the-ball linebacker. Love the leadership, love the pride, love what he had to say about Sam Darnold. Not that Darnold needed that, but Darnold is still for people because of his time with the Jets and Carolina. And quite frankly, the way the last 2 games went last year, there are a lot of people that he's an easy target. He's a punching bag for them, and Ernest Jones wasn't having it.
Ross, the Eagles, they can thank their defense for that win over the Lions. But my question for you is the offense. It's the lowest scoring offense in that division. How concerned are you about the offense?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm overly concerned just because I know the personnel they have on that side of the ball is very good. I do think that there's a lot of room for improvement, and I think everyone would agree with that. It seems like they take turns making mistakes, poorly timed penalties, little issues that prevent them from having the success they want to have. I will say this, though, a month ago against the Vikings, they had 200-yard receivers. Against the Giants, they had 200-yard running backs. The last 2 games against the Packers and the Lions, it was tough sledding. But I also think they kind of called those games a little bit differently just because of how well their defense was playing and the job they were doing shutting down the opponent.
Ross, we haven't talked to you about the Bears a lot this year. They're leading their division at 7-3. Tons of wins in the last 2 minutes. What's your read on this team? I mean, I heard a national guy say, hey, they're not going to be down there in the stretch. What's your read on this team down the stretch?
Well, it's funny, Rick, because I do power rankings for the Ross Tucker Football Podcast.
Yes.
Every Tuesday. And that's based on how good I think these teams really are. Like, the record is one thing, but it's if these teams play against each other 5 times or 7 times, like a best of 7 hockey series.
Yes.
In neutral location, Wichita, Kansas, right? Who am I taking? And I think I still have the Bears at like 16, which is to say I think they're pretty good, but I don't want to think they're 7-3 good. I don't think that they're a legit contender. I think they are probably an average team, maybe slightly above, that's won more than their fair share. of close games so far this year, which, by the way, that's all that matters. They won them, and some teams win more than their fair share, sometimes lose. Like the Chiefs is the craziest thing ever because the Chiefs went from 15 straight one-score victories to 5 straight one-score game losses. I mean, I know things even out, but usually it's like you alternate. It's not like 15 straight this way, 5 that way. Plus, you would think that the Chiefs would win more than their fair share because of having Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Are we seeing the end of the era of the Chiefs as a dominant team? They're 5-5 after losing to Denver.
I'm not saying that.
All right.
You can say that. I will not be shown on video anywhere saying that this is the end of the Chiefs' run. As long as Patrick Mahomes, in particular, but to a lesser extent Andy Reid, as long as Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback for the Chiefs, you won't hear me one time say it's the end of their stretch of dominance. Not once. Are they losing some close games? Yes. Would it shock me if they went on an epic playoff run as a wild card? Not at all. Not even a little bit. In fact, I can't wait till they make the playoffs as a wild card at like 10-7, and they have to play a number 1 seed or number 2 seed on the road, and they're still favored in the game. They're still going to be favored in that game because people are like, yeah, but it's the playoff. I'm taking Mahomes.
Hey, 4 for 16, 47 yards, 1 pick. He was sacked twice. Were you able to catch what Shador Sanders was up to with Cleveland?
I was. Yeah, I mean, look, it was not great, clearly, but I take that with a grain of salt. You know, you got a guy that for most of the year was a third-string quarterback. More recently, he's been the second-string quarterback, but the starter is a rookie also, so the starter gets all the reps because they're getting him ready to play in the game. Well, now this week, if Shador Sanders starts or is going to start, which seems like a pretty good possibility, he will get all the reps, and then I think we'll have a much fairer, more objective evaluation of who he really is. But even then, it'll only be one game.
Hey, Ross, huge statement win by the Broncos over the Chiefs. They're 7-2 in one-score games. Young quarterback Bo Nix, he's coming through in that fourth quarter. What are your thoughts on him?
It's interesting because there are a bunch of quarterbacks who, for whatever reason, play by far their best football in the last 5 minutes. You watch a Bears game, it's like, can we fast forward for Caleb Williams to the last 5 minutes? You know, same thing for Bo Nix. J.J. McCarthy was not good on Sunday, but he was at his best the last 5 minutes. You know, he did some good things the last 5 minutes. You know, Bryce Young maybe. I mean, there's a bunch of quarterbacks that seem to fit that criteria, which, by the way, is better than you being at your best the first 5 minutes. You know, I mean, if you're going to pick up 5 minutes to play well, the last 5 minutes are pretty good. I think the Broncos are a better team than the Bears, but there's a similarity there in terms of them winning the one-score games, especially during this 8-game win streak. Because in fairness, if you remember, they lost a couple games like that earlier in the year. You know, they lost that Colts game like that in dramatic fashion at the end. So they've kind of been on the other side of it for a while now.
Ross, why is that? Getting back to what you're talking about, why is it so many quarterbacks play their best football in the final 5 minutes? Urgency?
It's a great question. I think there's a couple different factors. One of which I think is a lot of times they're calling their own plays. And, you know, it's 2-minute drill. So the defense is tired. Their legs are a more important factor. And it's kind of like do or die desperation. So they're more willing to make some throws that maybe they didn't want to make earlier because they were worried about turning the football over. And I think some guys are just more locked in, laser focused when it comes to winning time. Yeah,
you see it in a lot of sports, including hockey. Hey, by the way, Saskatchewan beat Montreal in the Grey Cup. For your information.
Wow, is that big for you guys?
Oh yeah.
Well, the BC Lions
you guys are
Vancouver's
BC Lions.
team. Yes.
What does Saskatchewan mean to you?
Well, Saskatchewan is like the team in the CFL. They get the most attention. They've got crazy fans all over the country and even down in the States. So it's a big deal for the CFL.
Why is Saskatchewan the most popular team?
Have you been to Saskatchewan?
No.
That's the only thing that goes on there.
Yeah, there's no hockey team.
Yeah.
There's no basketball.
Got it. Because there's no hockey, they're all in on CFL.
Well, there's no NHL. in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Wait. How did you pronounce it?
Saskatchewan. Not Saskatchewan.
Yeah, I always thought it was Saskatchewan.
No.
You guys are saying Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Almost like it's W-I-N.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a weird way of doing things.
You guys don't even know how to pronounce your own province.
Yeah. It's like Toronto. You don't pronounce the second T. We have a weird way of doing things up here.
You know what you do pronounce?
What?
My front page story.com.
You're the best. You're the best.
Because it's the best holiday gift ever. I'm just telling you right now, if your significant other doesn't get teary-eyed, Rick will give you your money back. Right now, myfrontpagestory.com. If she doesn't get choked up at the best holiday gift she's ever received, Rick will refund you the full amount. He told me before I came on the show, Rick Dollywall, you can find him on social media. Just DM him and say, she didn't cry, Rick, at myfrontpagestory.com. I need my $50 back. Myfrontpagestory.com. And if you have any complaints, you can turn to @Rick Dollywall or whatever his social media handle is. Post Hockey Insider.
Yeah. Located in Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan.
Thanks.
Saskatchewan.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Ross.
All right.
Hey, boys.
You're the best.